Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the June 18th, 2025 regular board meeting for Chico Unified School District. We are going to head into closed session as we normally do at 5. However, before we do, we would like to ask if there are any, well, I should say, of course, that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed, so whatever we say and do up here is available to people in our community online as well. That said, if there are any public comments on our closed session items, we would love to hear those speakers. We do have 3 speakers listed. So without further ado, I'm going to call a name. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. We should have a timer back up there. You also hear a sound when you have 30 seconds left to speak. So that first sound means you've got 30 seconds left, not that your time is over. And actually, before we do, we might wait another minute or so that our final board member can sit up here as well. Thank you all for your patience. With that, our first speaker listed is Karina Stevens.
Good evening. My name is Karina Stevens, and I'm a multi-sport athlete at Chico High. I'm speaking on behalf of me and my 9 teammates, 7 of which could be here, 2 of which could not, who all played for Chaz in the 2024 volleyball season. We all had an extremely negative experience, and we tried to bring our concerns to our coach, Chaz, during the season through captain meetings and one-on-one meetings. After the season ended, we continued voicing our concerns to Chaz through exit meetings he held. He also had received feedback via parent and player fall surveys. Unfortunately, Chaz refused to self-reflect in any meaningful way. And not only that, he was talking behind our back to students in his classroom and posting critical things online through social media directed at his players in an attempt to intimidate us. This is not mature conduct for a grown man, let alone a varsity coach and role model. We were given no other choice but to bring our concerns to the school administration. We were left with the impression that they didn't want to deal with this and hoped the situation would resolve through the passage of time. We then filed a formal complaint, and although our concerns were substantiated, the school administration refused to remove him from his coaching position. In conclusion, we all had such a miserable experience that all 10 of us are not going to play the sport that we love if Chaz Konopka remains coach. We hope you can take our concerns seriously. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kaylee Solano.
Good evening, board members. I am Kaylee Solano, a student athlete at Chico High School. As you know, I'm here in regards to Coach Konopka coaching in the 2024 varsity volleyball season. I would like to start out by stating I've never been considered as an athlete who puts in zero effort, weak-minded, or uncoachable by any coach, including Chaz Konopka, before the 2024 season where he defined me as such. I was very close with the Konopka family since preschool. Last year before the season started, I would have even considered them my second family. Standing up for something that is right is even harder when you consider them this close. I have explained all my reasons why in my written statement, and I hope you take the time to read it. The main thing you need to know is that this coach made my mental health be the worst it's ever been. The constant belittling tactics that he repeats over and over again with his words and action have caused considerable pain to myself and other players. In the simplest words, it ruined my love to compete, ruined my confidence, ruined my ability to trust in coaches, but worst of all, ruined my love for the sport. Not only my love, but 9 other players' love for the sport they've played for years. 10 out of the 14 girls, including sophomores that were brought up for the playoffs, will not be returning if he is moved as head coach. 9 out of the 11 juniors will not be returning. How does that look at senior night? Only 2 players being celebrated, 1 being the coach's daughter, when there may have been 11. Remove the coach's daughter, there's only 1. If that does not speak volumes, I personally don't know what does. By not removing Coach Konopka, you're lowering the expectations of all coaches throughout the district. Coach Konopka knew all along what he was doing. He would always apologize for the way he acted, but never reflect and just repeat and perform in the same way. For him to be aware that 90% of his returning players will not be trying out because of the way he treated them should hit hard. That's just not a stat, it's a message that something went deeply wrong and cannot be ignored. I personally believe that in the percentage itself, he should step down on his own accord. Does he want to continue to make his players lose love for the game? Are the girls next year going to feel secure? Are they going to be belittled? Are they going to cry before and after many practices and games, just like my teammates and I did? Are they going to be treated fairly compared to his daughter? These questions and so many more often cloud my mind. It strikes me that he can destroy so many girls' love for the game and still want to continue to coach. Although the district has indicated that Coach Konopka has self-reflected, his actions show otherwise. For example, he does not acknowledge any of us on campus or at school events. It is very unfair that 10 girls have to step down from a sport they've played since they were old enough. I hope you look at this case very carefully and take your time on making a decision. Your decision will drastically affect us 10 girls' future, for better or for worse. If any of you know Coach Konopka at a personal level, I hope no bias is taken in the decision. It should be fairly easy based on all the evidence and facts proven in many written statements and interviews that my teammates and I completed. I would not be doing any of this if it wasn't the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final listed speaker for closed session is Matt Solano.
Okay, good evening, Matt Solano, father of Kaylee. I'm speaking tonight about how Chico High School and the district have handled complaints related to Coach Konopka. From the beginning, this process has been riddled with serious missteps. 1, failure to follow procedure. The school failed to follow its own complaint process, something we didn't discover until 5 months after the initial complaint was submitted. 2, conflicts of interest. Individuals with personal relationships to Coach Konopka were involved in the decision-making process. Erica Sheridan, Chico High's principal, whose son has been in a long-term relationship with Coach Konopka's daughter, and John Shepard, a known friend of Coach Konopka, was assigned as a lead investigator. For good reason, I agree that both Erica and John are well-respected professionals. However, they should have recused themselves from the decision-making process to avoid any implicit bias. The district should have recognized this as well. 3, inappropriate public statement. On June 2nd of this year, the AD issued a public statement claiming Coach Konopka had been cleared of all misconduct. This is simply untrue, according to the findings in the district's own investigation. Moreover, how and why would an AD have the authority to issue a public statement regarding a personnel matter? Who stood to benefit from the false information being released? Responses to date. In response to the complaints and the fact that 90% of returning players, excluding the coach's daughter, have chosen not to try out this season, and went as far as signing a document stating such, which you have a copy of, the district has implemented the following changes. An assistant coach will now be added to the varsity team. Coaching expectations moving forward have been clarified with Coach Konopka. All Chico Unified coaches must now complete additional trainings on how to best interact with student athletes. The AD and administration will periodically meet with players of all sports. Specifically for the 25 varsity volleyball team, a mandated minimum of 2 meetings will take place with players during the season. Let's be clear, these are significant changes, and they are unprecedented in response to one person or one coach's behavior. In conclusion, this is not a case of a few disgruntled players. This is 90% of your returning team, ranging from the most skilled to the least skilled, including team captains, who no longer want to play the game they love under this coach. Why would so many changes be made to preserve one coach's position, while ignoring the voices of nearly every returning player? If 90% of your returning varsity football players walked away for similar reasons, would the response look the same? Imagine one of these girls is your daughter. This is not a case of kids just need to toughen up these days. This was the experience of a broken environment. If you're looking for a compromise, considering the substantiated findings and multiple process missteps, and also the fact that if Coach Konopka has truly self-reflected, he still refuses to acknowledge last year's players' existence when crossing paths at the high school, and has never addressed the overall issue with them. As a fair compromise, I suggest a 1-year leave of absence from coaching as an acceptable resolution. With emphasis, I ask you to please put aside any concerns of personnel or HR liability when looking at reversing this decision to date. Please have the courage to do the right thing for your student athletes. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Those are the end of our listed speakers for our closed session agenda. Does anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none, I want to thank you all for being here. And at this point, we will temporarily adjourn ourselves into closed session. We'll be back at 6 o'clock for the standard open session. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. We are back from closed session. Welcome, all of you, to the June 18th, 2025 regular Board of Education meeting for Chico Unified School District. It is great to see so many people here. Let's see. I do need to announce that we were unable to complete discussion on all of our items in closed session. As such, we will be returning to closed session at the end of the public portion of this meeting to continue that discussion. With that, as we enter into our regular session, I would like everyone to please rise for the flag salute. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Superintendent Staley, over to you.
Thank you. I do want to say welcome to our international visitors, and we will be introducing you in a short bit. But before we do that, Chico Unified really has education that goes year-round. So while we're on summer break, we just transitioned right on into our after-school program, summer program. So to share some information and introduce some students, I have Callan Kwok Hennessy, who's going to talk about the program.
Hi. Like Kelly said, I'm Callan Kwok Hennessy. I'm the coordinator of the Expanded Learning Programs. I'm here to provide an update on our Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Summer Camp, which serves at no cost to families students from June 9th to July 3rd. This summer, we are proudly hosting 1,487 students from TK through 6th grade on 9 campuses, all actively engaged in a safe and supportive environment. Our program success is made possible by 133 dedicated Chico Unified teachers and 59 invaluable school aides and instructional paras. Additionally, our Nutrition Services Department supports our programs by providing breakfast, lunch, and snacks for our students, and our custodial staff supports the day-to-day tasks of having students on campus while also deep cleaning our schools. Students are participating in a rich variety of academic enrichment and physical activities designed to keep them learning and active on campus. Our camp staff truly go above and beyond, planning special activities like water play days, walking field trips to nearby parks, and engaging in cooking lessons. Students also participate in field trips to Cal Skate, the movie theater, and bowling, which is made possible by our transportation department. Beyond the regular schedule, special events has created lasting memories. These have included an energetic DJ dance party, a captivating Wild Things animal show, and the refreshing Kona Ice snow cone truck, which add extra excitement to the days. Overall, summer camp is providing a remarkably positive and enriching environment for our students, fostering both growth and enjoyment. Here with me is Gia Alfaro, our Rosedale Summer Camp Coordinator, and 3 of her students who are going to share their experience.
Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to be here today to speak to you about this wonderful program that we are having. I am the coordinator of Rosedale, which is actually the largest BLAST program in the whole district. And I have been able to witness firsthand how this program supports many families and truly makes a difference in their lives. Students are exposed to many, many great activities that are planned by our leaders. BLAST has become such an asset to this community, and we have built strong relationships with both Chico Unified Schools and the CARD program. To continue this program in the form of our summer camps helps us to further provide students the accessibility to enriching experiences that they may not have in a typical summer program. This summer, we've had the opportunity to collaborate with Citrus Elementary students and staff as they have joined us at Rosedale. So we've created our own little special community. Students and families often express how thankful they are to have such a program as this at no cost to them. Being able to provide a safe and nurturing environment for our students in both BLAST and summer camp has been one of the many rewards of our program. You will hear from one of our ASP leaders, Gavin Keene, and 3 students from our current summer camp, Jaslyn Melendrez, Maya, and Olivia Texara, about their experiences that they've had this last summer.
Hello, my name is Gavin Keene. Thank you all for having me here today. I'm here to talk about what I did as a BLAST leader this past academic school year. The first semester, I worked with first and second graders, which was, as some know, a handful. But I learned a lot of great opportunities and how to interact with smaller children. And then the second semester, I worked with fourth and fifth graders, which I connected with them a little bit more and understood how to finagle situations, as I have seen throughout growing up here. And we do a lot of fun different things. We have different clubs, such as video games clubs, where we have a Connect Switch, and the kids absolutely love it. We do a lot of outdoor activities. I was part of the golf club, baseball club, basketball club, anything you can really think of. We also have a lot of great enrichment opportunities. We do a lot of fun board games. We do a lot of fun creative activities that you could see the leaders have picked off Pinterest. And we all kind of do our different little thing, and we all have our different kind of spin on stuff, and I think it makes the kids enjoy it a little bit more. So I had a great experience, and I'm looking forward to going back to be a leader again next year. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jazzy, and I've been in Rosedale ASP since 2nd grade. And some activities are, at the end of the year, we have a water day, and the 5th graders and the leaders do a ice bucket thing. When it's half day, they have activities planned and set. There's assemblies every day where you get your group points and do different activities every single day. And for summer camp, we go on field trips, we combine groups for the aftercare, and lastly, we get time to talk with Citrus. And what I like about summer camp is that we have amazing staff like the lunch lady, Coach Maestra Faro, Sienna, and more.
My name is Maya Texara. This is my 2nd time in summer camp. We do really fun field trips and we do rotations so that we can do something with every teacher. It's been really fun being with my friends and continuing to learn during the summer. My favorite part so far has been the Calscape field trip, and I can't wait to go bowling. Thank you. My name is Olivia Texara, and I've been in summer camp since TK, and my favorite part about it is the field trips, and I love my teacher.
Thank you. I also have the honor tonight to present the Superintendent's Award to someone whose dedication and leadership have made a lasting impact on our students and staff. So Gia, we got you here. So Gia leads a team of 16 incredible card leaders and serves an impressive 155 TK through 5th grade students every single day as the BLAST coordinator at Rosedale. Her impact extends far beyond the after-school program. She goes above and beyond by coordinating early back programs, spring break, and summer camp, ensuring our students have a safe and enriching, engaging opportunities all year long. With 21 years of teaching experience, Gia brings both wisdom and heart to everything she does. For the past 3 years at Rosedale, we've been incredibly fortunate to have her leading the BLAST program. Whether it's the treats that are always available in her office or the fun costume things she brings to life, Gia creates an environment of community, joy, and belonging for both students and staff. These little touches speak volumes about the culture she builds, one of care, connection, and fun. You will not find a more enthusiastic, Disney-loving, and caring educator, colleague, friend, and mother. Gia, thank you for your unwavering dedication, for being a guiding light to our expanded learning team and Rosedale's campus. It is truly a privilege to recognize you.
shuffle, the picture shuffle. And before they ride off into the summer, I do want to give the board the opportunity, if there are questions regarding the summer program, to ask them. If not, we will keep moving.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that my granddaughter is at Rosedale every day for Blast, and she is really enjoying it. And I just have to tell you, her parents are really enjoying it too. And so I want to thank you, all of the staff that makes that happen. And it's just such an enriching environment for Lenora. And so, so thank you so much for what you do.
I just have one word: impressive. Yeah, remarkable. Thank you so much for offering this for our students.
Okay, well, let's keep the good times rolling. I'd like to invite up Joe Morris to the podium. Oh, and Eric German. We're going to get tag teamed here, I can see.
Hi, how are you? So today's word for us, I got threatened with my life in my office because I tried to hide it and surprise it, but that didn't go over well. So just so you know, I'm standing here because she didn't take me out. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand here before you today to present the highest recognitions in our organization, the Superintendent's Award. This award is not given lightly, reserved for individuals who go above and beyond the call of duty, those who exemplify dedication, excellence, and integrity in everything they do. Today, we're here to recognize Jen Fields. Jen Fields, if you'd like to come up. Come on. Come on. See, this was part of it. Her outstanding contributions to our team and our mission. Jen, thank you for being a role model of excellence, a trusted colleague, and a valued member of our team. It is with great pride I present you with the Superintendent's Award. You have truly earned it.
So, Jen had some really big shoes to fill when she came on. We had Darcy, as some of you may remember, had been in that position for, I think, nearly 17 years. And when you are running one position, it's a unique position within Chico Unified. There's no other position like the M&O coordinator. And Jen stepped in there. Not only did she fill those shoes, she surpassed our expectations. And I don't know if you've ever met somebody where you can hear the smile in their voice, but when people call maintenance and operations, they typically aren't calling us because they're in a good place, right? We're like, we're kind of the complaint department where, hey, my toilet's overflowing, our lights stopped working, we've got bees in our classroom. It's always a crisis, it's always an emergency. And Jen has the ability to answer every one of those calls with a smile. And the people on the other end of those lines, they can't see that smile, but you can definitely hear that smile and you can feel that smile. And it is so reassuring to our people that are calling to know that there's somebody that cares that much. And everything she does expresses that to our staff, to our school sites, and to everybody. So we can't thank Jen enough for what she does. It's a big job, and she does it wonderfully. Yep. Thank you.
Front and center.
Hang on 1 second. We got multiple cameras. I'll set this here. So.
There you go.
We're close enough? Can you get Mike? Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh, paparazzi style. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I say it every time, but I love starting with the superintendent's awards and hearing from students and reminding us about all the amazing and good things that happen in our district. So to those of you who got awarded, thank you so much for your service. For the students who were here, thank you. Getting them that microphone can be a little scary sometimes. You all did great, and we love hearing from you. That said, we are on to item 6, which is announcements. And, I do believe announcements might be the longest portion of our meeting today, which is kind of fascinating. So we have several announcements. Thank you all for your patience as we move through them. I would like to invite, first of all, our CSEA chapter rep to come on up and introduce the June CSEA Member of the Month.
Good evening, and thanks for having me, just like everybody else. My name is Holly Ponciano, and I'm the Vice President of our CSEA, which are classified employees for Chico Unified. And we have begun as you've seen the last few months, with Kelly Searle coming up here, so I'm standing in. But we have chosen our June CSEA Member of the Month, and that is Dan Adams. He's right here. He could come up. Dan is a night custodian for us at Chico Unified at Emma Wilson, and he's been with us for 9 years now. And as we know, custodians are unsung heroes as much as everybody else, but especially at night, our night custodians. So we appreciate that Dan's here on an off time for his normal schedule, changing over for the summer and being here is a little tired, he said. But we do appreciate, again, him being here, and in talking to him, when we were telling him that he had been chosen for this month, one of the things he said that I thought was wonderful was that, his favorite part of the job is just the people, the staff that he works with. I just thought that meant a lot, being part of a team, because he does have a difficult position, being an after-school cleanup and all the other things that he does as well. And so I know that's a tough one. We're all going home and ending our day, and his has just begun. Brian Daggett, another of our members and custodial staff, was the one who nominated him. And some of the things that Brian has told us about Dan is that he's just an extremely hard worker. He always just shows up and just gets the job done. As we know, that's what you need, somebody who can just jump in and go with the flow of what's going on. And so he never complains, which, wonderful on that. And but bigger than that, there's never any complaints about him as well on the job. So I think that says a lot about him. And we just want to say thank you so much for the job that you do, and being a wonderful representative of our classified employees for Chico Unified. So thank you, Dan Adams, for everything you do for us. It's just fun stuff for summer. I don't.
Thank you, and thank you, Dan. Custodians really do set the atmosphere, the tone for our schools. We appreciate the work that you do. With that, I am happy to invite Charles Zartman and Heather Hacking from Chico State up to introduce their guests. Hi, hi.
Hi, Dr. Charles Zartman, professor in the School of Education, director of the Center for Bilingual Multicultural Studies, and director of international training programs, the hat that I'm wearing tonight, in introducing our 18 guests from 18 countries. But before I do that, I've just completed my 40th year on campus and my 50th year since I started teaching high school in the fall of 1975. And one thing I've learned as a professor in the School of Education is we've recognized all these people for their outstanding work, their outstanding contributions. Having been here for 40 years, I know that a superintendent works 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, 365 days. Kelly, your contributions to this community have been amazing. And it's my understanding this is your final board meeting tonight. I apologize.
This is her final regular board meeting.
Final regular
with
board
all the
meeting.
public, yeah.
So on behalf of Cal State Chico, the School of Education, and the entire community, Kelly, thank you for your contributions. So, these 18 individuals are conscientious, dedicated, wonderful, and they're here to introduce themselves, their role. They've been to Fairview, they've been to Chico Country Day, because they're looking at institutions. The Fulbright people in January to March, they're in classrooms. These are people at the Ministry of Education level, at a bigger level than in the classroom, with greater responsibility. So they want to see how institutions work, and that's what brings them to our community at this time. So if you'll come forward and introduce yourselves, 18 wonderful educators from 18 countries.
Hello everyone, I'm Sepali and
Jennifer Lopez from the Philippines, Department of Education.
Turkey, Iran, Russia, Armenia, and Georgia. I'm the president of Azerbaijan English Teachers Association. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nantenaina from Madagascar, and I'm a principal of a public school in the capital city, Antananarivo.
Hello everyone, my name is Guillermina, I am from Argentina, and I'm also a principal of a public school. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ricardo. I'm from Portugal. I'm a coordinator of English in preschool, and I'm also an English teacher in Portugal.
Good evening, everyone. I am Jennifer from Papua New Guinea. It's in the Pacific, just up north of Australia. I am the English curriculum officer for my country. Prior to that, I was an English teacher at the secondary school. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kairat Puyati from Thailand. I am a secondary school teacher. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here. Every year, we are so thrilled to see all of the people who come through Chico Unified. We love having the visitors, sharing knowledge both ways about how best to serve our students. So thank you guys very much.
I would like to second that welcome, and I hope you guys enjoyed your time here, or at least some time here while you were here.
With that, does anyone from the board have any announcements they would like to make? Please.
I wanted to say how much I enjoyed going to the promotion at AFC, Cal, and Oakdale, I think. I think I got it right. It was really great to go and see the kids promote, and so that was a real privilege. It was my first time as a board member at graduation, so it was wonderful.
The graduations are always such an amazing time to see our students and reflect on.
I have something to add, too.
Please.
I was able to, since being elected as board member, I think I made it to 16 out of the 22 sites, just to visit and hang out, and that really is the best part of the job. And then I was able to go to Bidwell's graduation, which was fantastic, and as I retired from PV High School, I went to PV's graduation, and I shook and high-fived with 488 students, and it was literally one of the best times of my life.
I have one other thing. I want to extend my thanks to Julie Kissel for inviting me to walk the grounds at Citrus and explain what the plan is going to look like there. I'm disappointed to know that the halls, the flooring and the lighting probably will not be touched, but there are a lot of things that will happen, and I have sent Julie all sorts of questions like, has the public ever funded, given support for like, donations of materials or time? I am not giving up on either the floors or the lighting, but we'll see how it all plays out. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Until you guys started mentioning graduations, I didn't think I had anything to say. However, I had the privilege, again, for about the 15th, maybe, graduation at Fairview, and the Independent Study Program, I think, is the other program. If you haven't been, mark it on your calendar for next year. It's always in the morning, and it is a celebration of accomplishments by the bravest, most inspirational young people that you will ever see. Our students that end up in our alt-ed classes, it isn't that they failed, it's that they've succeeded and have decided to do something for themselves. That's why they end up with an alternative ed program, to make sure that they get as much as they can out of the time they have available before they come, adults and have to go off and be real people. The staff that supports that group of young people are the most amazing I've ever. Mr. Mull is one of my heroes too. But if you haven't been to their graduation, put it on your calendar for next year and go. It is, it lets us know that our future's in good hands. That's what it does. It lets us know our future's in good hands. And to my fellow board member, Gail, down there, I got a chance to sit within about 6 feet of this board member as she greeted those 400 and how many kids? 488. Yeah. Through most graduations that I've been to, and I've been through a few, the kids are bound and determined they're not going to smile when they get up there to be handed whatever it is us adults have prepared to hand them. Ms. Olson down there absolutely refused to allow anyone to go through that exercise and be handed their diploma without smiling. She got smiles out of some of the most solid faces. I so enjoyed your presentation, Ms. Olson. And again, to the staffs at our schools who create an environment where our young people can thrive and end up in the joyous situations that we celebrate at graduation. My thanks to all of you. I am so grateful to have been here for a while. Thank you.
We are grateful to have had you here for all that time. Thank you.
One last thing.
I got
I
two.
was just going to say, I was going to say, I had every intention of being at Fairview's graduation as well, but my kindergarten granddaughter promoted the same morning. And I have to say, again, I'm saying this because the staff did such a great job at promotion. I teased Kelly, I said, I could be the board representative, announcing their promotion of the class. But it was so moving, and the principal just about cried. I was like, you could do this, Marisol, you can do it. But it was so sweet, and it just, from the very beginning all the way to the end, it is amazing what the staff does to, see our kids and our community grow. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I had the chance and opportunity to shake hands with the Chico High students, and for my third year in a row. And I agree, it's definitely one of the added perks, blessings of being on the school board, something I never imagined would be probably one of my favorite things. So to see that and to see these kids just launching into the world is super inspiring. So it was an honor.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite times of year. But I'm going to make an announcement that's completely different, which is that I wore a hard hat yesterday. And you guys may not know this. I'm not a construction worker in any way, shape, or form. We were out to honor the groundbreaking because we have finally started construction on the Inspire campus out on the south side of town. And it was an awesome event. I know that you're going to speak to that in a moment. I just want to say thank you for having us there. It's been a long time, and the partnership between Chico Unified and the local charter school is something that we're very proud of. We've been thrilled to work through this occasionally bumpy process with you, and we're so excited to see where that goes. So thank you. It was an amazing ceremony, too. Yeah, we had purple vests. They're so color coordinated. It's very Inspire. I have a slightly sadder announcement to make now, which is that Chico Unified is suffering a fairly severe loss at the end of this month. So I'd like Superintendent Staley to actually come up here. Yeah, please, up here. I just want everyone to have a chance to recognize all the amazing good that this woman has done for our community and our district. She is retiring at the end of this month. The things that Kelly Staley does for, again, our community and for Chico Unified are amazing, are well above and beyond the call of duty. I have a piece of paper here that lists a lot of them, and I'll read them off shortly, so I won't go into them all right now. What I appreciate most, maybe, is that I know everybody in this room who knows Kelly has disagreed with her at some point. And I mean that because we have all disagreed with her, and we have all managed to continue to find ways to work with her, to appreciate her leadership. She does not let the inevitable politics of a very, very hard job interfere with being a human being. And that is very hard to do today, and it has allowed you to be an exemplary leader. You have defined the professionalism, the leadership, and the student focus that we expect from all of our staff. You've been a mentor and exemplar to all of our district, to all of our staff, your colleagues here in Chico and around the state. I know the Superintendent's Award, as was just mentioned, goes to those who go above and beyond. And for 24 years, 16 of those as our superintendent, Kelly Staley has done just that continually, every day, in serving the students of this district. And we cannot say thank you enough. We all wish you an amazing, happy, and fulfilling retirement. And we're going to sadly with a couple of gifts also. First of all, it's not binding because we couldn't put it on the agenda without surprising you. But I would like to read a proclamation from the Chico Unified School Board. Whereas Superintendent Kelly Staley has served as superintendent of Chico Unified School District since 2007 and will retire on June 30th, 2025, after having served the district for 24 years. Whereas on this occasion, the Chico Unified School District Board of Trustees care to pause and reflect upon appreciation of Superintendent Kelly Staley, and whereas Superintendent Kelly Staley is a longtime educator and has worked as a teacher, coach, assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and superintendent in both large and small school districts. And whereas Superintendent Staley has served on the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team, the Association of California School Administrators, Region 2 Representative, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges Visiting Committee Chair, the California School Boards Association Advisory Board, the Northern California Superintendents Organization, the Suburban School Superintendents National Organization, and other K-12 and national organizations. Where Superintendent Kelly Staley has been recognized regionally and statewide for the positive contributions to K-12 education, including, most recently, as AXA Region 2 Outstanding Woman Educational Leader of 2025. Whereas Superintendent Kelly Staley actively participates in local organizations, donating time and resources to community groups such as Reading Pals, Chico Noon Rotary, and the Chico Chamber of Commerce. Whereas Superintendent Staley has been described as widely respected and highly regarded throughout the county and state, and is a student-centered educational leader who positively contributes to the community and is passionate about supporting educators and student success throughout the region. Whereas Superintendent Kelly Staley has guided the district through multiple crisis situations, maintaining calm and consistency throughout the community while providing services and continuity of education with the mission of supporting every student every day. Whereas the student-centered educational approach and high quality of education in Chico Unified School District is so appreciated by its students and community, and is maintained in part because of Superintendent Kelly Staley's leadership and dedication to education. Now therefore be it resolved by the Chico Unified School District Board of Trustees that it hereby honors the many accomplishments and overarching dedication and service to the Chico Unified community, and do hereby express deep appreciation for the many years of service Superintendent Kelly Staley has offered to the students and staff of Chico Unified School District, and wishes the best in retirement and all future endeavors. Now, if you don't mind coming up here, we've got.
Oh, awesome. I won't kill this one.
There's a story about this gift. Yes, this one. This is for mine. And then, of course.
Do you want to read it, Eileen?
Yes. I'll give you this so I can go with Eileen's paper too. Thank you so much.
I'm going to attempt to get through this. Kelly, you know sometimes I don't make it. I wrote this with the intent of getting through it without crying. So, let's see how it goes. The first rodeo. Do you remember the cartoon I sent you with the horse and the rider upside down holding onto the horse's neck. And the caption was, "This may be her first rodeo." I laughed then. It was hysterical. She came in on a horse, then promptly fell off and broke her riding platform, also known as her butt. CSD had to wait a while before she was up to full strength, but once that happened, dust began to fly, and it hasn't settled down after 24 years. Kelly puts her big girl pants on and goes to work every day. She brings a flair for decision-making that has been unmatched by no other superintendent. She is a gather the facts, assess the options, and make a decision, then move on woman. She is leaving a legacy of positive growth for every student, every family, and employee as she leaves us for retirement. As her ship moves off into the sunset, I am forever grateful for what she has taught me as I bounced around on her wake. It's been a pleasure, Miss Kelly.
So first of all, this was entirely unfair, but I don't know who you described in that proclamation, but what I want to say is I think you have it all wrong. The thanks really should come from me to all of you, to the staff, the amazing people that I get to work with, our incredible teachers, our classified staff. It has been 39 years in education, 24 here in Chico. It's my family. And I hope you all stay that way. I'll stay in touch for sure. I've already told principals if you need somebody to, I don't know, pick up stuff, help distribute things, whatever, I'm happy to do that. But the honor has been all mine. I do thank you for the very kind words, but I think I have a lot of areas of growth, but probably the one thing that was a strength and that I'm most proud of is the staff that we have hired, the people that we have put together. We have an amazing team, and I know there is not going to be a beat skipped. This district is going to probably go up even faster now. So thank you for your kind words. You will always have a huge spot in my heart, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready.
I mean, unless anybody else here wants to say anything about Kelly. We could give speeches about Kelly for a very long time.
I will say just a few words. My first interaction with Kelly Staley was as a parent. I wrote a concerned email, and quite honestly, I wasn't even expecting, this was maybe back in 2019, 2020, wasn't even really expecting any sort of response, just wanting to kind of express my thoughts and share my concerns. And it wasn't even 3 hours later, she had responded to my email in a very personal way. And I knew right then and there, this was somebody that hears the concerns of parents and families. And I was instantly drawn to this person and just her dedication and commitment to our school district and the families of Chico Unified and our community. So I honestly was a fan from day one, and that my admiration and my just appreciation for her just grew being on the school board. She was always has always been someone who hears our concerns and is someone who is so wise and always shares her wisdom in a very humble way, and I've always appreciated that. And even on a more personal level, she has just really taken my daughter under her wing and been a mentor to her in horseback riding. And what I'll say about Kelly is that list of accolades and honors that she has is nothing compared to what she can do on a horse in a show ring. She really, truly is amazing. So although I'm sad to see her move on in this capacity as superintendent, I know that we'll continue to be friends, and I will continue to look to her for wisdom for years to come. So thank you, Kelly. We do have a gift for you, and I don't know if we want to explain that or if we want to share that later with you. It's up to you.
Well,
Let's do it in close.
Yeah, all right.
can I add?
By all means, please.
Totally different perspective. So I came to Chico Unified as a teacher, and didn't have tenure, but boy, every month or so we were out there informational picketing, and this was before you. And things were really rough, and I was highly involved in the Teachers Association, and then Kelly comes along, and you turned us around. You brought us to a place of, now I'm going to cry, incredible distrust to amazing trust. You built a very strong district with open communication, open doors. So I don't cry anymore. Thank you for everything.
So I'm the board member who has the least experience with Kelly, although I did meet her years ago when my daughter was a 6th grader. She was I think the assistant superintendent. But on a daily basis, I'm the one who knows Kelly the least. And it's interesting, at a Chico function, someone took me aside and said, so background, I'm a teacher in a different district, and I've been the association president for 13 years and a negotiator for 17 years, and someone took me aside and said, you know, Kelly is concerned about you. And I thought, okay, all right. And what I've experienced is that if that was actually the case, I've never felt that in the least. We had disagreements about things, but I think she truly appreciates my passion and work ethic, and I have just great respect, and I thank you for, bringing me along in this new role.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor it, but I remember that. I think it's worth noticing as well. Kelly, you do a really good job of making board members, which is to say that we all come in guns blazing about something we're angry about. It's why we ran, it's why we wanted to be up here, and helping us become a cohesive unit that is focused on what's best for all students and for the health of the district as a whole. And again, we don't always agree. It's not always easy, but you've been an amazing leader to us as well in that role. And I think that's been very good for the district also. I'm definitely a better board member and a better human being for getting to talk with you as often as I do. So thank you for that. Fine, Kelly, next agenda item. We are on to item 7, which is items from the floor. Items from the floor are for the public to address items that are not on the agenda. The usual speaker rules apply. You have 3 minutes to address the board. We will not respond because they are not items that are agendized. Wonderful clock back there. We'll let you know when 3 minutes are up. We'll have a timer at 30 seconds. And goodbye to our distinguished friends. All right, items on the floor. Our first listed speaker is one Becky Brown.
More good stuff. Good evening. I'm Becky Brown, Principal Superintendent of Inspire School of Arts and Sciences. And I have a letter from our board and our foundation board to share with you. Dear members of the Chico Unified School District Board, On behalf of Inspire School of Arts and Sciences, we thank the Chico Unified Board for taking action to ensure a viable way forward for Inspire's Charter School Facilities Program Grant project. With your help, we've leveraged over $14 million in state grant funding needed to provide a campus that is adequate for our school and programs and that keeps Chico High's master plan for facilities on track. The district has been a leader in including charters and facilities bond funding for the benefit of all students enrolled in schools within district boundaries. We are grateful to the district for meaningfully involving the charter leaders in conversations around bond allocation. We are grateful for the opportunity to engage in collective problem solving in joint discussions between school and district facilities committees. We are grateful to Julie Kissel for her brilliant efforts to make Inspire's new campus a reality, to Jacqueline Kruger for her careful stewardship of public funds, and to Kelly Staley for her visionary leadership. Thank you, members of the board, for listening to the voices of our community, for seeking to understand the complexities of our project, and for your support in moving our new campus forward. And this is signed by our staff and our foundation board and our school board. And from the bottom of my heart, I say ditto, deep and resounding ditto. We are just thrilled. So thank you all so much. And I'll share these letters with you.
Thank you. Our next listed speaker is Hogan Brown.
Howdy. All right, my name is Hogan Brown, and I'm the Director of Friends of Chico Lacrosse. I'm following up on recent district discussions regarding the potential addition of CIF lacrosse at Pleasant Valley High School and Chico High Schools. This follows the strong interest expressed by both student bodies as presented to the board on May 14th through the high school athletic sustainability and CIF survey results, along with public comments from students and community members. Since that meeting, we've had productive individual conversations with board members via email and have provided additional information addressing many of the questions and concerns raised after the public comment. I am here speaking for your students, parents, and community to ask what more do you need from us, and when can we get started working on bringing much needed athletic opportunities and ways to create student engagement via the sport of lacrosse to Pleasant Valley and Chico High Schools. We have been working on this for over 2 years, and we are ready to start spending our time and our donors' money on things that directly impact our community and kids. As other local high schools move forward with launching CIF lacrosse programs, our families need clarity. We need to make informed plans for their students, and we're eager to begin working with you and everyone involved, hopefully soon, to get CIF lacrosse at Chico High School. Please let us know what else we can do and what else we can do or to get this going. So, thank you.
I do not have any other speaker cards listed. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address an item not on the agenda at this time? I don't see any, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. Thank you all very much for being here. We are looking now at item 8, which is our consent calendar. Are there any items from the consent calendar that a member would like to pull for further discussion? Seeing none, is there a motion regarding the consent calendar on the table?
I move we approve the consent calendar.
Is there a second? All right, we have a motion from Member Hayes and a second from Vice President Conkin. Any discussion on the consent calendar? Seeing none, we will do a roll call vote as this is our first action of the evening, starting with Member Olson.
Olson, aye.
Conkin, aye.
Lando, aye.
Hayes, aye.
Robinson, aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. All right. Now I got to figure out where I am on this thing. Sorry, guys, give me a moment. All right, item 9.1.1 is a discussion action item regarding the approval of California Community Schools Partnership Program and the implementation plan. Am I in the right menu? There we go. He's here. All right.
Good evening.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well, Tom. Yes. Questions?
I'm broadly in general. How is
Oh, sure.
How is the Community Schools Partnership Program going?
I've got one of those allergy stuffy things in my ear,
Gotcha.
and I am not hearing properly. So, sure, no, things are going great. So, I don't know if the board, I was not able to be here last time we were talking about community schools, but we are up and running as of receiving the funds last fall. Currently, we have 3 school social workers at 4 of our programs, so we are currently moving into the new school year with social workers at Chapman Elementary, Citrus Elementary. We are now open, we have an open listing for a school social worker at McManus, and then the alternative education programs has hired a school social worker that will be starting in the fall as well, so we're kind of cruising in really nice with that. Additionally, through our needs and assets processes this spring, the elementary schools have moved into the direction of hiring intervention specialists at those schools as teachers on special assignment. And that is to, they will be sitting on our school-based intervention teams to help provide academic behavior and social emotional support to all students on campus.
Awesome. Could you just, for any members of the public who aren't 100% sure what we're talking about, could you kind of quickly go over what makes these community schools different from any of our other sites, perhaps?
Sure, and I know that's been a big thing because the way the community. Let me see if I can get a little adjustment here. There we go. I know there's a lot of information out there on different community schools and different ways that they are functioning across the state. And the cool thing about community schools is they are individual. I mean, they are designed to be a needs-based framework to best support everything happening on a campus based on its community. We know that at these schools, they're all struggling with different things, but what this program is designed to do is to treat the whole child and involve all stakeholders in order to make sure that we're making the best decisions to always support kids. And it's been an amazing opportunity to be a part of that and seeing the cool things that are happening on our campuses and the strides that we're making to get the community and parents, staff, all involved on taking care of kids in the best way possible. And so that's been a really cool thing. It's a very cool silver lining to come out of the pandemic where we recognized that our communities and our schools were suffering because of the lack of the ability for kids to be on campus and to engage with their teachers and all the resources that they need to thrive. And so I know it's not a great thing, the pandemic was, but that's one of those cool things where we recognize that we really gotta bolster all those things to make sure kids are getting what they need to be successful at school.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions for Mr. Hillier right now? So I believe we have action on our plate regarding this. We need to approve the implementation plan.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the board regarding what that looks like? I know we've all reviewed it ahead of time, and it is, of course, attached online as well. Okay. Seeing no technical questions, do we have any public comment regarding our community school implementation plan? Wow, okay. Is there a motion associated with this item?
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Clerk Olson and a second by Member Robinson. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. It is unanimous. Thank you very much. Please.
I just wanted to say thank you to
You can say it.
the parking lot visits that we've had. For some reason or another, I end up at the district office at about the same time you're coming out of the district office, and that phrase about parking lot conversations. I get so much information, and I am so grateful that you will stop and, you know, do all of the filling in for all of my questions. And I'm so grateful for the program that you've begun and are making happen in our district. Thank you.
Well, thank you too. It's always a pleasure.
I think that's all we need from you, right?
Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here and for all the work you do. Item 9.1.2 is a public hearing, discussion, and action regarding the extended school year. Jen Scala.
Okay, lower it for the short girl. Okay, we brought this as an agenda item, and it was my bad. CDE asks that it be a formal public hearing for extended school year, and so they were gracious enough to say, just go do one, even if we're underway, we're good, just do it. So that's why we're here. So just thought I would also take a quick opportunity to let you know we are almost halfway through our extended school program. It's been very, very smooth under the direction of Margie Starkey. She's working hand in hand with Callan and ensuring that our kiddos are participating not only in their special ed instructional services, but then participating in all of the fun activities that Callan has put together. It's been very exciting to see that blend of services happen. We've got classrooms at 10 schools. We've hired about 25 teachers working with our students every day, and over 100 paraprofessional staff. We've got nurses and speech therapists and occupational therapists and psychologists, everybody on board serving a little over 280 students every day. So my apologies, we moved forward with this before, but the CDE would like that final stamp of approval from the public.
While I am a huge fan of ESY as an intervention that some students need, I just want to make sure I understand the purpose of the public hearing. What exactly is the outcome or the goal of this public hearing?
So the CDE is just asking that through formal public hearing process that we have approval to move forward on a shortened number of days for extended school year. We have longer days, but fewer days versus 20 days at 4 hours a day. And overwhelmingly, our parents have told us, yes, thank you for doing that. It doesn't bump into the 4th of July holiday in any way, and our students are on campus longer.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate that clarification. Before we go into the formal public hearing, anyone have any questions? In that case,
I just have a comment.
please.
As a ESY teacher for I don't know how many years, I loved it when it went from 4 to 5 hours and it's shorter. Yes, so it's a win-win not only for students and parents, but for staff, I believe, as well.
Thank you. That said, I am going to open a public hearing on this matter. It is now open. Do we have any public comment from the public regarding the change in schedule for the ESY program? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on this matter. We still need, as a board, do we still need to act?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And again, I'm sorry, guys, I'm still back saying goodbye to Kelly in my head. What is the action that you are requesting here?
To go ahead and approve the waiver for a reduced number of days for extended school year with a longer day for students.
Very good.
I so move.
All right. We have a very enthusiastic motion by Member Robinson. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Second by Member Hayes. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Thank you very much, Ms. Collins. Unanimous.
Thank you for letting me come twice.
We are on to item 9.1.3. This is an informational public hearing regarding a draft of our LCAP for 25-26. That is the Local Control Accountability Plan. Mr. Karras, hello.
Good evening. Tina, you're okay. Yeah, totally. It is. It's been many years we've been up here together. Tonight is our public hearing for the LCAP, that addresses Chico Unified's plan for the 25-26 school year. That's the budget one. So the LCAP is our strategic plan. It's a very, very meaty document, and it's hard to digest, but it really, really does drive everything that we do. We are proud of the fact that the ideas and the spirit of the LCAP is consistent throughout the district planning documents, including the single plans for student achievement. It comes into play when we're selecting professional development focus for the coming year, and it really does drive everything that we do. So, school districts in California are required by the state to address 8 priority areas in their LCAP, and you can see the priority areas listed there. So really, when we get to the goals, goals will be addressing multiple priorities. Tonight, we've included on the board agenda the budget overview for parents, which gives a much clearer bite-sized chunk of the overall LCAP budget than you get by reading the actual plan. And then, of course, the actual LCAP. So goal 1 is regarding academic instruction and supports. It is goal 1 for a reason. We believe that academics is why we're here. We do a lot to support it, lots of wonderful things going on. Academics is number 1, and what you'll find is the largest number of actions. So money spent goes towards academics. Goal 2 is social emotional learning and supports. Goal 3, behavioral instruction and supports. And goal 4 is an add-on to our, kind of core 3 goals. And the purpose of goal 4 is to address how our schools that receive equity multiplier funding are going to spend it in the following year. So you can see the 6 sites listed up there. We have the 4 alternative education campuses. And new this year, we have Oak Ridge Academy and Citrus. Schools qualify for equity multiplier funding based on non-stability rate. So schools with a high non-stability rate, so lots of kids coming in and out, as well. And the other criteria is unduplicated student count. So those are our 6 that make the cuts for both those measures. So when we get into talk about budget, you can see in the light blue there the about $207 million. That's the overall district budget. The money that we're talking about tonight is the LCAP LCFF supplemental. So it's a portion of our overall budget. So goal 1, you can see bilingual aids, you can see educational software used at all levels, teachers on special assignment, which is something that or TOSAs, something that we really, really rely on in Chico Unified for teacher leadership and the teacher voice and communication with our teachers. You can see art, music, and extra PE up there as well. And a big one up there that I failed to mention is technology, device replacement. And that's the cost of, the bulk of that is Chromebooks. And as we continue, we can see secondary counselors, librarians, library media assistants, kindergarten aides, and then there is an amount of money that's allocated to the sites to do with as they see fit. Medically necessary and off-campus instruction, and elementary reading specialists. We're very happy to be able to, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but the reading specialists, it's great that they're part of LCAP and they're going to be sticking around.
I'm sorry, the site allocated funds, those are for all sites, not just the ones that.
Right,
okay.
yeah, correct.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. So the actions that I just showed you aren't obviously everything that we're doing to address academics in Chico Unified. We do have many other funding sources, specifically grants. Title I, Title II, Community Schools Grant that you just heard about, et cetera. And more the state's been allocating money via grants. And so when we go through the LCAP process and we're evaluating our progress towards our goals, and we're meeting with members of the public and Chico Unified families at our LCAP meetings, they're giving us all kinds of ideas. And we find that very valuable. We're proud of the amount of input the public's able to put into the LCAP, and it's documented very well in the LCAP. And that input really carries over to what grants we look for, what we do with the grants. So the LCAP process really drives, the grant side of things as well as the actions that you see listed on the previous couple slides. Any questions or comments on goal 1?
Yeah, I have a quick comment if nobody else does. It is really just a comment. Just that I know we often hear up here that we need to just focus on academics. And people point to all kinds of things, often the CASP scores, which across the whole state always look worse than they should, frankly. That said, I love pointing this out, that we have this document, here's exactly what we're going to do to make things better for students. I think through the combination of some of the amazing teachers we have at Chico High and the kind of stability of finally being in that block schedule for a while, like here we've had some really good preliminary results, and especially in math from Chico High. Can you, I know, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is that what you do?
Very early in CASP score evaluation, but things are looking good, in particular at the high schools, regarding English and math.
Using some of the stuff we're doing here to make sure that's replicated and kept up is.
Yeah, and also, moving on to goal 2, when we talk about social emotional services, that really comes into play as well when we start talking about test scores. Tisha, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, just a comment. So I want the public to be aware this is that local control accountability plan. And I know that the district reaches out to parents and stakeholders, but when the LCAP first came out from the state, I think there was a lot more interest in the process because it was new. But it's kind of like the idea of we see a lot of interest at elementary school level with parents taking and volunteering and doing things, and then we see kind of a slide as our kids get older. There's less involvement from parents, and that's kind of what I've seen with the LCAP. And I would just say to parents and students, this really is your opportunity to weigh in on how what the budget is going to look like for these funds. And if you have things that are of interest to you, please, make that be known. And then also realize that things that you're interested in may not be able to be enacted that very next school year because there are hiring decisions that take place. So You want to get your ideas out there, like vote early and often, right? That idea of have an idea of what you want. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. It may or may not, it may not be feasible, but if you don't ask and you don't advocate, it certainly will not. So I would just say this is an opportunity to hear that community voice, and I know that you really want that.
It really helps us in so many areas. Like I mentioned, grants and of course LCAP.
I will second that really quickly and say that Tim and I, as well as the whole educational services team, loves to talk to folks about LCAP and priorities that they might have and questions they might have. Any explanations we can give. Oftentimes we find that people, they do have questions. They don't understand the whole picture. We don't claim to understand the whole picture. We're learning every day as well. So I appreciate the fact that you're recognizing anybody to come and ask us questions. We're happy to answer anything.
Yeah, and I'd like to just mention the student voice. Students have a lot of opportunities to meet with educational services staff. And yeah, they do have a lot to say, and they do really help us focus in on certain things. Counseling is the classic example.
I had an opportunity this year especially to attend some of those student input meetings. Oh my goodness. Yes, not only do they have a lot to say, but they understand a lot about what's going on with their educational support and programs and what's working and what isn't working, and they are not shy. They speak up. They let you know what they think they need extra of or don't need to be bothered with that anymore. They are amazing. So if you get an opportunity to attend one of these LCAP student input meetings, by all means, show up. They're, again, our students are amazing.
And I just add to students out there, if you haven't been invited to be, there's obviously your team can't speak to every single student. The principals try to give a diverse look at the student population and make recommendations. Then transportation has to be arranged, especially at the elementary school level. But seriously, if you're a student and you weren't invited to one of these meetings, the LCAP is held. There are meetings for the public, and every student, anybody could come to those meetings. And so if you feel like your voice isn't being heard, I just would encourage you to find out more about the LCAP process and come and speak your mind.
Okay, so the student voice is a great segue into goal 2, social emotional learning and supports, because they spoke up very loudly about the need for more counseling.
Yep.
Quite a few years ago now, we've been fortunate enough to keep our counselors around for, hopefully as long as forever. You can see a couple items up here. First, you can see health professionals, nurses and LVNs, health aides. You can see counselors up there, both at elementary, alternative ed, and including community day school. Like goal 1, we have a lot more going than shows in the LCAP. And this is a list of some of the things that we have going on in our district. Increased targeted case manager time. We were able to do that 2 or 3 years ago, and that's been huge. That's something that parents and kids asked for ongoing over the years. Any questions about goal 2?
Again, no question, just a comment. I just want to thank our team over here. I know it was we had to do a lot of finagling to make the money work to keep all of our counselors after COVID money ran out, and I really appreciate the hard work, especially Jacqueline, I know Kelly's pointing at you over there, to make that work because you knew that it was what kids needed. So we appreciate that.
Okay, goal 3, which is regarding behavioral learning and supports. You can see the actions here and the funding that's attached. The actions include opportunity programs, including elementary, out-of-school suspension alternatives. That's been a big focus of ours, both at the elementary and now secondary level. You can see campus supervisors, coaching, and project specialists. And those project specialists are in the special education department, and they're out supporting sites and supporting teachers and kids.
Are they TOSAs as well?
No.
Okay.
They are project specialists. It's actually an administrative position. So we can see goal 3 here. In addition to the LCAP funding, we have middle school athletic coaching stipends, additional to project specialist time, and positive behavior interventions and support. So it's really hard when you talk about those 3 topics to separate them sometimes because they all affect each other. So kind of some of the ones that we feel like fit into all 3 goals are listed up there. We see health aid time, after school program enrichment, and then really trying to diversify our hiring pool by attending classes at Chico State and events at Chico State. Questions on goal 3?
Not a question, but a comment about the hiring. I know that your team goes to Chico State and whatnot and to like hiring fairs and things like that. But I'm just going to propose to you that some of your most incredible recruiters would be your teaching staff. Teachers love their schools and that enthusiasm. I urged my superintendent to have teachers go to recruiting because while the superintendent can say nice things about the site and HR can say, oh, here's the benefit package and blah, 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 there is nothing more convincing than having site teachers say, you want to come here, you want to teach here and I'll tell you why, or you want to, and also for CSEA, I think there's nothing, I don't think there's a stronger advocate than having people that are on site doing the work and loving it. And so I'm just going to put that out there because I see time and again that it's really the district level staff that's going out to these, and I would say you're losing an opportunity by not inviting your teaching staff.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Well noted. And people get tired of the swag, the pens and the magnets and all that kind of stuff. If they can actually talk to people, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Okay, moving into goal 4, which is the equity multiplier funding for the 6 sites I mentioned earlier. These, for the most part, remain the same. There is a couple listed up there that are new, and I want to call those out as citrus math intervention teachers. So over over a full-time teacher worth of services is coming out of their equity multiplier. And then the Oak Ridge bilingual instructional assistant. Okay, any questions on goal 4? No? Okay, so tonight, as I mentioned earlier, is the public hearing. We will be posting the LCAP on the CUSD webpage. It may already be up there. Yeah. So it's already up there. Public comment period is open. That can be done via mail. It can be done via email, but we welcome comments. The final adoption, should the board, approve the LCAP, will be on June 25th, so next Wednesday. Are there any further questions or comments?
Comment? This year, more than any, I, for some reason or another, I had the time and went out and attended these things that you invite us all to that involve students and staff. I want to say thank you to the staff, all of you, that put together all of the focuses that get this process not only moving, but concluding in a way that can be presented like this. This didn't just happen by magic. Some very bright, capable people helped put this together, and I just want to say thank you.
Seconded, but Mr. Harris is kind of magic.
Yeah. I do want to, along those lines, I do want to thank, it's quite a team that deals directly with the LCAP. Sharice Bromley, Murray Hartman in business services, in educational services, Tina, myself, Chase Chevalier, and Michelle Bunch. Chase and Michelle are new additions to the LCAP process this year, and they've done a wonderful job. They're great writers. And on the data side of things, all the data that you see is Kate Ori at the district office. So it takes a lot of folks to put this together, and it's really, the groundwork's laid by way more than the people that I just mentioned, but it does take a lot, and we're happy with the results.
Well, thank you very much. And again, the LCAP in many ways is our steering document. So if anybody out there in YouTube land is concerned about what we're doing and wants to give input, this is your chance. Please let us know, come to the meetings, and use this website. And thank you for all that.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'm just going to follow up on President Lando saying that those of you in YouTube land, you have until June 25th. So even though the team has done a great job putting this together, if you have comments or concerns, we're listening.
It's not ominous at all. We're listening. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Karras. We are on to item 9.2.1. This is the charter schools measure.
We need to do the public hearing.
We have to do a public hearing on the LCAP, don't we?
Yep.
Yes, it's not an action item, so I want to skip right past it, but you're right, which is good because we have people here. I apologize. Given that, I will open a public hearing for the public to give input as we've just requested regarding the LCAP process. So the public hearing is now open. Do we have anyone who wants to talk about priorities and the LCAP process and the spending of LCFF funds? All right. If you're not here, again, there's the website. You have until next Wednesday to get us your ideas. For now, though, I'm going to close the public hearing. And now, because it is not an action item, we will move directly on to item 9.2.1, which is Charter School Measure K project requests. Hello, Ms. Kissel.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me here this evening. The last Monday of every month, the Measure K and now Measure C Charter School Facility Committee gets together to assess different projects that are brought forward from the charter schools. And they were busy again last month bringing forward two important projects. The first one is for Chico Country Day School. Their gymnasium floor needs to be sanded and varnished. And The cost of that project is $7,500. And the second project is for Nord Country School. Previously, they had brought forward a project to do a sidewalk along the front of the school and new fencing and gates and drive gates on their driveways to secure their site a little bit better and make it more safe for pickup and drop-off. They didn't have quite enough money, so they're asking for another $21,000. So tonight, we're bringing those projects forward, and if you have any questions about them, I'd be happy to answer them.
So this is the fencing, you said, along the front of Nord?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And that's because every time, but the cost and requests all seem within line to you and our department?
Yes.
Okay.
The project for Nord Country School was actually publicly bid after you approved it initially, and it did come in a little bit higher, but we did add some scope to it. So it's a bigger project now.
Okay.
So that explains the additional cost.
Thank you. Yeah, the number on that one surprised me a little bit. Okay. Any other questions, comments on this one? All right. Do we have any public comment regarding the Measure K requests? I see none. Do we have a motion associated with this one?
I move approval of the project requests by both Chico Country Day and Nord Country School.
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
Very good. We have a motion by Vice President Congan and a second by Member Robinson. Any further discussion? Nope. In that case, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. It is unanimous. And it is closed. Thank you so much. We are on to 922, which is the, what's that? Oh, sorry. Okay. If I missed something, I know I'm going a little fast today. We are looking now at the adoption of Resolution 1694-25 for the exemption of the Marigold Elementary School TK building, new construction project.
Thank you. So for many years, it's been standard operating procedure to exempt our projects from the City of Chico's ordinances. Both 1694-25 and 1695-25 are very similar. One is for Marigold Elementary School transitional kindergarten building project, where we're adding 2 transitional kindergarten classrooms to the campus. And then Citrus is for the addition of 1 TK classroom and 3 kindergarten classrooms and modernizing their campus. I want to mention, I know you have to deal with each one of these individually, but since they're so much the same, I thought I'd describe them at once. I want to also make sure that I mention that our department and the school district works very closely with the City of Chico, especially their engineering, traffic engineering department, making sure that we're, presenting our projects to them early, gathering input from them, using their expertise. So they are fully aware of the projects that we bring forward through our local agency, and they anticipate the exemptions coming.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board regarding specifically the first one, 1694-25, which is the Marigold project? Do we have any public comment on this one? I see none. Then I will go ahead and ask for a motion associated with this item.
I motion we approve resolution number 1694-25.
I'll second that motion.
Very good. We have a motion by Member Hayes and a second by Member Robinson. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you very much. As Mrs. Kissel said, we are going to move right on to 1695-25 on your agenda. That's 9.2.3. This exempts the Citrus Elementary project from Chico's zoning ordinances. As it has already been described to us, I'm just going to jump right into asking whether we have any technical questions for Ms. Kissel on this one, and any public comment on this one. Guys, somebody come on. No, thank you. Given that, do we have a motion regarding 1695-25?
I move approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Member Robinson, a second by Clerk Olson. Any further discussion or debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That one is unanimous as well. But Julie does not get to go away because we are now on to item 9.2.4, discussion action. This is regarding a notice of exemption from the CEQA for Marigold TK building. So this is similar but different. How is it different?
This is the California Environmental Quality Act exemption. The district is our own local agency, so we are responsible to comply with the California Environmental Quality Act. In this case, regarding the transitional kindergarten classrooms that will be added to the Marigold campus, we are providing an exemption because we are not increasing the size of the occupancy of the campus more than 25% or 10 classrooms. So we are able to exempt ourselves from CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act. And the next item is very similar for citrus, and it's the same exemption.
Thank you. Are there any technical questions for Ms. Kissel regarding this exemption? Is there any public comment on this item? Do we have a motion regarding item 924?
I move approval.
I'll second it myself. Okay. We have a motion by Member Robinson and a second by Lando. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. And again, as Ms. Kissel stated, we are on to 925, which is a similar exemption for the citrus project. Again, given that it is so similar, I'm going to jump right to clarifying questions or questions from the public. Is there a motion on item 9.2.5?
I so move.
I'll second.
Motion by Hayes, second by Olson. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that one is unanimous as well. Something a little bit different. Item 9.2.6 is the Golden State Pathways Program Implementation Grant. What's that?
So our district was successful in being awarded several Golden State Pathways grants. They are not exactly the same as career and technical education grants, but they're similar. So with the grants, we're able to improve the facilities that the programs are active in. So at Chico High School, there was a grant for the health and medical pathway and sports medicine, and horticulture and environmental science, computer science, and the STEM program. Over at Pleasant Valley High School, they support the plant science program and engineering and robotics. So we, in the facilities department, have divided the grants up, the projects up into two separate phases. So for the first phase, we are working on the sports medicine at Chico High School, and then plant science and engineering and robotics at Pleasant Valley High School this summer. And then next summer, we will tackle all of the other grants at Chico High School. We wanted to tackle all of them in one summer because we just want to get it done for the students, but they're substantially more complicated in the science building at Chico High School, so we needed another year so that we could plan for that to occur over next summer. So today, we're asking for your approval for the construction expenses that are in the third column, and then I provided the total grant amount as well. And there are components of the total grant amount that will pay for equipment, and it also helps to pay for staffing for those programs. But just the construction portion for all of them is $1,582,660. And specifically below I have outlined certain vendors that we plan to utilize and what their maximum dollar amounts will be so that we can move swiftly through getting these projects implemented.
I very much appreciate the breakdown by vendor with the maximum amount. Thank you. And I recognize this action item is just about the spending of the construction money, but I want to say I'm really impressed and happy that we got these grants. I've worked in CTE. They are competitive. It's not easy to get them. So this is great for our schools.
Well, Tiffany Herringer and Michelle Bunch worked very hard on them. And initially, we didn't get them. And they had to, yes. Right. We kind of had to protest, and they did. They stood up for us, and then we got the money back.
Well, they have our sincere thanks. Like I said, these are hard monies to get, and they're going to be well spent. Do we have any other comments or questions for Julie about this one, you guys?
Just a quick question. D&D, can you, it's not Dungeons and Dragons.
No, it's D&D educational furniture.
Okay.
So they'll be providing science tables, specific
Great.
furniture for robotics, stools, that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
I would like to say thank you to Tiffany and Michelle.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, please.
Wonderful. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and ask for a motion on item 926.
I'll motion to approve.
I second.
All right, we have a motion by Member Olson and a second by Member Hayes. Any further discussion or debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It is unanimous. All right, item 927 is a bid approval for site work for temporary portable housing at PV regarding the Building D reconstruction.
Mr. Orlando.
Oh.
Throw something at him. I don't know.
What you got?
Thank you, Mr. President. Point of personal privilege from this board member on items 7, 8, and 9. I'm reading this into the record, officially into the record. In reviewing the 618 agenda, I have continuing concerns over the assumption of approximately $410,000 in costs connected with the April 25th fire in D building by our insurance carrier. I live very close to Pleasant Valley High School, so became aware there was a fire within minutes of the ignition. My continuing concern is with the decision by the Chico Fire Department to leave the scene before the fire had been completely suppressed. It was immediately apparent the second conflagration was going to be worse than the first. By the time the fire department returned, the fire was raging again. Raging kind of is an understatement. It was, yeah. It was immediately apparent the second fire was going to be worse. This time, the damage rendered the building so unsafe, it was days before entry could be made. I know CUSD is not the agency in charge of Chico Fire Department's decision to leave the site with fires still smoldering within the confines of the building, but this board member feels a further accounting of Chico Fire Department's actions on that date is warranted. I ask for an additional report from the city manager during our November board meeting. I believe accountability when our public buildings and educational services funded by public dollars are negatively impacted. I believe the public is entitled to a more in-depth explanation from our fire department's leadership. Thank you.
Simply, in a quick response, if you would like the board to take action on that in a formal way.
This is not a board action submission.
No.
This was a point of personal
Yes.
privilege to just read the statement into the record. However, if you notice, I did ask for follow-up with the November agenda. That, sir, is up to you, since you are board president. And if you want a submission of a...
Please, that'd be great.
I will fill out one of those nice little forms.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question? Why November?
Because of the amount of time that I believe what is currently happening with investigations and things to be completed, I don't see that what I'm asking for could be accomplished before then.
Thank you. I believe we were at the point of asking for a motion on 927.
7, yes.
Yes. Oh, we have not, I'm sorry. Is there public comment regarding 927? I'm not sure if we did that or not, but we'll do it again just to make sure. I do not see any such comment, though. So, is there a motion for 927?
I move approval.
All right. And again, this is regarding the site work.
The site work, yes.
Yes, for construction. Okay.
Point of clarification, I don't believe we've even discussed 927 quite yet. And there's actually a different direction we'd like to go with 927.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I apologize. I was looking at 926 still. Okay.
Oh, that's the house.
Yeah, I'm going to rewind all the way, you guys. We're looking at 927, which, as we've said, is a bid approval for site work for temporary portable housing regarding the Building D reconstruction. Sorry, Ms. Kissel, please talk us through this.
Quite all right. So we had anticipated receiving bids yesterday for the site work regarding the temporary portables that would be housing the art department from Pleasant Valley High School Building D. However, we had to extend the bid date to the 24th because we're really trying to get the plans together, a biddable set of plans for contractors to utilize to give us their pricing, and we missed the mark. We're trying to push really hard. So we are going to bring that to the June 25th board meeting.
Thank you.
It'll bid on the 24th.
All right. So the item as posted in our online agenda currently is incorrect. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you, Jacqueline, for catching me up on that. I appreciate that. So we are not then asking for any action tonight on this item? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that was confusing, but I think we're all on the same page now. All right. Item 9.2.8 is the consideration of a continuation of Resolution 1692-25, the emergency declaration that requires procurement of restoration services for PV.
Yes, so this resolution should look familiar. I did bring it at the last board meeting on May 18th as a result of the PV fire. So this evening, I'm asking for continuation of the emergency declaration, especially given that our next regular board meeting is July 30th. So in order to be able to continue the restoration process and purchasing equipment and supplies for our teachers to start school in August, this resolution allows us to expedite that.
And will we need to continue the resolution monthly until?
Monthly until we don't need it anymore. So I am optimistic that we can get a lot of this done prior to the regular meeting in August. So hopefully just one more time.
Thank you. All right, any other questions for Jacqueline regarding this item?
Only, do you know the date of the regular meeting in August? Sorry.
That's a fair question.
I believe it's August 20th.
So, all right, so August 20th, that we're here? Okay, thank you. So again, this item specifically is regarding the continuation of our emergency resolution. Any other comments regarding or questions regarding that? Do we have any public comment regarding the emergency resolution? All right, in that case, do we have a motion regarding this item?
I motion approval of the continuation.
All right, we have a motion by Member Hayes and a second by Vice President Conkin. Is there any further discussion or debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. Item 929 is discussion action on a resolution numbered at 1693-25, a resolution to establish a capital outlay fund designated Fund 40 related to the fire at PV.
Yes, so before you this evening is Resolution 1693-25, and what this resolution does, it essentially creates a capital project fund outside of the general fund. So as we are moving forward with the restoration of the D building and also securing temporary housing, occurred to me that we are incurring a lot of expenses that will be reimbursed to insurance. And so upon further investigation, it really is recommended by FCMAT, the Financial Crisis Management Assistance Team at the state level, to take those out of the general fund. So a couple reasons. One, when you start trending year over year, you're going to have this huge spike in 24-25 and 25-26 related to expenditures of the fire. That also impacts your 3% reserve because those are expenditures. And so the idea is that you would move them to a completely separate fund and you run the entire capital project out of that fund. So the county treasury would need this resolution approved by the board in order to generate that fund at the county treasury so we can record not only our insurance proceeds, but the expenditures related to Building D.
Thank you. I appreciate being able to track this project specifically apart from everything else in the general fund. I think it's a very good idea. Any questions regarding this?
Just clarifying, so what will happen is all insurance payments will go into this fund?
That is correct.
And then everything will be paid from it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, the matter before us is Resolution 1693-25. Do we have, I don't need a motion yet. I need public comment. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No, but we still have public.
We do. All right. So.
Way to be.
Given all that, now do we have a motion regarding this item?
Motion to approve.
All right. I'll second that. We have a motion by Member Olson and a second by Lando. Any further discussion or debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. It is unanimous. Item 9-10 is a public hearing, informational only, on our original budget for 25-26. Hi.
Hi. All right, Jacqueline, Charisse, and I are here tonight to present 25-26 original budget. This slide outlines the budget development timeline in a typical year. One thing that was different for this current year is that individuals and businesses in LA County affected by the fires have a postponement to file and pay taxes until October 15th. So that means that the revenue collections have been delayed, and that makes the budget projections more complicated. The legislature did approve the 25-26 budget bill on June 13th, so we're currently in the bottom stage of this slide, and we're waiting for the governor to act on this by June 30th. These are the major assumptions that we used when creating the budget. It's based on the governor's May revise with the cost of living adjustment at 2.3%. A funded 2.3% was also put forth by the legislature. We project that funded ADA, average daily attendance, will be based on prior year. You'll see that in the next slide. We project that the 3-year average of unduplicated students will continue to be above that 55% that we need in order to qualify for LCFF concentration funding. And the salaries and benefits reflect position control as of May 24th. So we've got that pretty far into the year. All right, you're used, yes?
Could you, I think I missed something. Could you go back to that slide? The 3-year average for unduplicated targeted subgroups, 56.89?
Yes.
That's up a bit, isn't it?
It's up from our original projections.
Oh,
yes,
good.
Good memory.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so you're used to seeing this slide. It shows actual and funded average daily attendance.
As you know, the lion's share of our unrestricted revenue is generated by attendance. So we're funded on the higher of current or prior year ADA. If you look at the bottom of the left-hand side graph, showing the district's actual enrollment and ADA, you'll see that in 24-25, we're projecting that we will not quite make that 94% attendance rate that we were shooting for. We are estimating that in 25-26, optimistically, we will return to that 94% rate.
Yay.
However, we also projected a slight decline in enrollment, so therefore our assumptions used in this budget is that in the 25-26 school year, we'll be funded on prior year ADA. All right, and this is our unduplicated pupil percentage. And remember, UPP is the primary factor used to calculate supplemental and concentration grant funding, and that's for services targeted to disadvantaged pupils. The categories are free reduced price meal eligible, English learners, and foster youth. Districts must reach a 55% unduplicated percentage on the 3-year average in order to receive any concentration funding. And that's about 1.5 million for us. So in 24-25, our UPP for the 1 year was 58.45. So that means on the 3-year average, we were at 56.81%. We are projecting a slight decline in UPP for 25-26, but our 3-year average would still remain well above that 55% at 56.89.
Alrighty, good evening, board. Okay, so now we're going to get into the general fund income statement. So what you're looking at here is the 2 columns show our unrestricted funds in the general fund. That's mostly made up of the local control funding formula on the revenue side, and then a lot of our positions are paid out of that on the expenditure side. That, if you look at the very bottom, because that's a lot of times what we're looking at is where are we going to land. We're projecting about a $421,000 deficit, which for a budget our size is about break even. The restricted one looks way worse, but I just want to make sure that you guys understand those are grants and they're self-balancing. So a lot of times what that means is we receive the revenue in prior years and we're spending that down in future years. Okay, so this one shows our revenue alone in the unrestricted side of the general fund. And as you can see, that local control funding formula, LCFF, that makes up 94% of our unrestricted funds. So that ADA and unduplicated percentage that Marie was talking about drives this very much, which is why we watch it so closely. And then on the expenditure side, those 4 green pie slices, those all make up 88%, and that's staffing mostly. The reason we include special ed contribution is because most of that is paying for our special ed staffing for the contribution that we make out of unrestricted funds to the special ed program. And then this one, Tim presented LCAP earlier this evening. So this just gives you a summarized view of all the expenditures. These are paid for out of LCFF supplemental and concentration dollars. So the total that is listed in the LCAP, just so you guys can see it all in one list, is about $20 million, a little over $20 million. And this just breaks down each category that Tim discussed earlier when he presented LCAP. Okay, and then the final area that I have before we get into our multi-year projection, this shows our transfers in from other funds. So we have 2 different areas. We have redevelopment agency pass-through, which mainly goes towards paying for our M&O staff, otherwise known as routine restricted maintenance account. So we're projecting that to be about $4.3 million. And then our developer fee admin support, that's 3% of the developer fees that we collect over the course of a year. Then when we get into the contributions, we're projecting a little over $32 million, and $25.5 million of that is special ed. As you can see in this slide, that represents about 59% of the program. So about 59% is being paid for out of unrestricted contribution. And then the other big portion that we have in contributions is our routine restricted maintenance account. Per ed code, that's 3% of all of our expenditures in the general fund. So we're projecting that to be about $6.7 million. And then we have a small contribution to Prop 28, and that's to pay for elementary arts and music prep teachers. So that's all the contributions that we have projected as of right now.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to jump into the multi-year projection. So it's great to look at one budget, but it's probably even better from a planning perspective and a planning tool perspective to look at multiple years. So in front of you, the very first column, 24-25 EA, means estimated actuals. It's where we think we're going to land. So as we were preparing, you essentially prepare two budgets this time of year. You guesstimate or estimate where you think you're going to land in the current year, as well as building next year's. So right now, we are looking to have an increase in fund balance or surplus of about $3.7 million. So I want to give a huge thank you to our county treasury team. Their investments have generated a lot of interest income, probably triple what we normally get. And we've seen that over the last probably 18 months, and it is continuing. So there was an extra $1 million there that we didn't anticipate coming in. So we had another about $1 million in savings in special ed from various aspects of the program related to positions. We had an NPS student, non-public school student, leave in February, and we had budgeted the entire year. So some savings there. And then we have site carryover. So we budget as if the sites are going to spend every dollar of their allocation, but we know when we get to this point in the year that some sites or many sites will have carryover going into the next year. So you can see in 25-26 a small deficit of $400,000. Like Cherise said, on a budget this size, that'll fluctuate. That's essentially break even. Projection of about $1 million deficit in 26-27 and about a $1.4 million in 27-28. So from my perspective, I think that's great. We also don't know what's coming out of the governor's budget. So in this budget in front of you is just COLA. But we know there's other funding streams that have come forward as a proposal that we don't know if they're going to materialize or not. So we didn't include them in this budget. So whatever happens between now and June 30th, I will make those changes and I will bring them back most likely at the August regular board meeting to be transparent to the board, the staff, and the community about the impacts of the governor's budget. So I do want to point out here that at the very bottom where it says components of fund balance, the fourth line, board reserve 2%, that is our current policy in board policy 3100. And I bring this up because it's later in the agenda, but I wanted to show the board, as we spoke at the last meeting, right now we have the state reserve of 3%, an additional 2%, but it doesn't generate enough dollars for 1 month of payroll. So what I did was I put forth the exact same slide, but I changed that reserve to 4%. And you can see in the in the box at the very, very bottom, those are all still positive numbers. So really what happened was as we shifted dollars from the box at the bottom, I'll go back, to increasing that reserve to 4%. By doing that, we'll have just over $15 million, which will cover 1 month of payroll. So I bring that up now so we can have discussion later on that. There we go. So I spoke very kind of globally about the assumptions, but you can see here a few key aspects I want to talk about. We are looking at a very small decrease in enrollment at this point, 43 for next year, and then 83 the following year. And part of that is we are seeing the stabilization of TK. So we've had this implementation of TK, and we've had these larger, younger kids coming in, and with full implementation next year, we'll start to see that stabilized. We do have COLA in based on the department. Yes?
I'm sorry. I don't know if my ears aren't working or my eyes aren't working, but repeat that last statement you just made about the rates,
So in the very first bullet, we talk about our enrollment projection. So our enrollment from a TK perspective has been going up pretty solidly for the last couple years,
right,
as the age 4 keeps getting moved back and back. As that is now at full implementation September 1st, our TK group will stay relatively steady, but we have some pretty large 11th and 12th grade groups that are coming through, and so we're not seeing the incoming to offset the outgoing.
Got it. Thank you. That's the part I missed.
So just to clarify, so if children are not 4 by September 1, they don't go into TK.
That's correct. Correct. So we did add in COLA on the revenue side based on the Department of Finance guidance at this point, which is 3.02% in 26-27 and 3.42% in 27-28. Those are estimates at this point. We'll see when the actual calculation comes in what that is for, and we'll adjust that as we come forward with the budgets. So we do account for step and column of our staff, certainly. There is an increase in the PERS rate, and then we are seeing inflation with our utilities as well as our insurance costs. Furthermore, we also take into account that we have retirements. So I am being a little conservative on the retirement side, 10 on the certificated side, just because that's kind of been the MO, I guess, the last couple years, which is lower than typical, and then 4 on the 4 full-time equivalents on the classified side. Let's see, we do have a little bit of growth. I do have 1 TK class coming in 26-27, and then 2 additional special ed classrooms coming in 26-27 as well. At this point in time, we are looking to move the elementary counselors from a grant that they're currently into our LCAP in 26-27. That is the plan now, and that is already taken into account in the multi-year projection that I put in front of you on the prior slide. And then lastly, we do have, or almost lastly, we have cash, right? So it's great to have a budget, but if we don't have cash in the bank to pay the bills and pay our staff, that's a problem. So the good news is we have healthy reserves and healthy cash balance, and you can see here that our pattern, our estimated pattern for 25-26 is very similar to what we historically have. You'll see November is always our low month, and then in December we get property taxes and we spike back up. But one thing I do want to note is that dotted line in red for next year does take into account very conservative and very slow federal reimbursement. We don't know kind of the uncertainty related to the federal administration and how grants are going to be pushed out, how the dollars are going to be pushed out. So we took a conservative approach just to ensure we have cash for 25-26 for just our federal dollars at this point. So we are optimistic. The governor will sign the budget by June 30th, so we have another 12 days, I guess, to see what happens. And as I pointed out, I think there's things in his proposal and as well as the legislature's budget where they will negotiate and come to something in between potentially that may not be incorporated in the budget that we have in front of you today. So I will come back in August with an updated budget there. But I do want to say, you know, I think the budget's looking pretty good considering what I've heard at the state level, but we do have some challenging times ahead of us. The federal funding is definitely uncertain at this point. We do have it in for next year, and we are working on a plan B should those funds not materialize. We also have some state budget challenges. There's been some stock market volatility, and that is one of the 3 main income drivers for the state. And the other big one is the governor depleted the Prop 98 reserve. So Prop 98 is the mandatory funding for K-14, which includes our community colleges, and it had its own kind of savings account or reserve. And in the 25-26 budget, he took the remaining money in that reserve to fund the 25-26. So there is no safety net anymore. So the concerns going forward after 25-26 there. And then cash deferrals. So part of the state's plan for budget cuts, if you will, is instead of paying us our June money in June, they pay it in July. That's a cut on their books because it's in the next fiscal year. So right now, the only deferral we have is June into July. Hopefully it stays that way, or they'll buy that back. But they aren't going to use cash deferrals as a mechanism to cut the budget, because Kelly and I have both been through those times where your March money comes next November, and you have other months that are deferred as well, and it becomes extremely challenging for districts to manage.
I had a question. Are the cash deferrals, are they tied to that idea of Governor Newsom making some changes to Prop 98 or finagling Prop 98 funds? Is that the reason for the cash deferrals?
No, those are 2 completely separate. One is a cash deferral of June into July as a budget reduction at the state level. What you're referring to is he's not fully allocating what many believe is the full amount of money to K-14. He's doing a little bit less than that. And so we'll see what happens. I know he did that in 24-25, and there was legal action taken against him, and he ultimately fully appropriated all those dollars. So he's taking a similar action. If it goes through, I would imagine the same legal action will be taken again.
Thank you.
Any further questions related to the budget? I know it was a lot of information, so.
John, I don't have a question. I just have a statement. I am very surprised at this point in this year that we are in as good a shape as we are. I anticipated, after the election, quite frankly, and the statements around the federal Department of Education and things, that we were going to get hit with fewer dollars to a larger extent than it seems have materialized. Is there a way to continue to monitor what's going on to get a sense of, are we going to be okay, or do we still need to continue to act as though, our pants are on fire?
I would say I monitor every day, honestly. When I look at the budget, I'm gleaning as much information as I can from what I hear at the state level and the federal level to be able to plan. And that's why we have a multi-year projection as a tool to be able to plan to say, if we don't get this federal funding, what do we do next? We have reserves, so we can certainly, in the event that the federal funding doesn't materialize at all for 25-26, we have reserves in order to cover those programs and those staff, because they are on contract at this point. Then it would be a much different conversation with my colleagues here at the table of, then what do we do going forward into 26, 27? And I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did, to know what's going on at both the federal and state level. So just as information comes in, we monitor that and make adjustments accordingly.
Well, thank you for the monitoring. Again, thank you for the monitoring. We have a little viewpoint through our school services bulletins that we get, but those are teasers. What you're being able to pull out and report for us is wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, a big thanks to all of you. You work with numbers all day, but it supports the amazing work that our staff and our teachers and our team do with our kids. This is a public hearing, informational item, right? So do we need to have we do need to have a public hearing on this one as well.
This is much like the LCAP public hearing this evening, and then it will be brought back for approval 7 days from now.
So given that, I am going to go ahead and open a public hearing on the original budget. It is opened. Does anyone in the public wish to speak on the budget as we have just seen presented? If there is no comment, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And since this was informational, no action is needed. The original budget will be brought forward for action next week, I believe, right? On the 25th? Excellent. In that case, we're going to go ahead and move on. Item 9.2.11 is also a public hearing informational item on the reserves disclosure for the budget for 25-26.
Yes, so the next two items are informational with a public hearing, and they are associated with the original budget. So per Ed Code 42-127 and some subsections I won't read, public hearing is required for any reserve amount that is greater than the state's 3%. So Zach, if you could click on the attachment related to this item, thank you. So this document here is a template from the state of California that basically says you need to substantiate your reserve if it's greater than 3%. So we do have the board's additional 2%. We have E-rate carryover, and E-rate is a federal program related to telecommunications through our IT department. We do have a fair market value of cash, which essentially is saying that if we were to liquidate everything we have at the county treasury because they invest it, we would get an additional $1.1 million versus the cash value. So it sits in our fund balance, but it's really fake, essentially. So we do carve that out. And then we have currently, you'll see there at the bottom line, 14 million that's really related to the uncertainty of the state budget, related to cash flow in order to be able to make payroll, and just ensure that we have fiscal solvency going forward.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions of clarification?
I do. So the total amount of the reserve is a little over 22 million, is that correct?
Yeah, that we have to substantiate, yes.
And that, do you know what the percentage is? What that equates to as a percentage? I know you said that the state requires it if it's more than 3%.
Yes. I don't know off the top of my head, but based on the 3%, it would be an additional, not quite 4. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Jacqueline or staff regarding the reserves disclosure? In that case, I'm going to go ahead and open a public hearing on this item. Public hearing regarding the original budget 25-26 reserves disclosure is now open. Any members of the public who wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Again, after the public hearing, this is an informational only item. No action is needed, and again, the original budget, along with the reserve disclosure, will be brought forward next Wednesday, correct? Excellent, thank you. I believe that puts us on item 9.2.12. This is again a public hearing informational item regarding the 25-26 education protection account.
Yeah, so just a reminder, when we talk about our local control funding formula revenue, or basically ADA funding that we're getting, average daily attendance, it's really comprised of 3 things. So your local property taxes, I say kind of fill up the bucket first, and then this EPA, Education Protection Act money comes in, and that kind of fills it up second. And then the state fills in the backfill related to what we are owed versus what those 2 have already put in. And this Education Protection Act was generated via Prop 30 back in 2012. But what it didn't do was actually create any new money. It just moved, it used to just be property taxes went in and then the state backfilled to whatever our allocation was. This kind of made it 3 within that bucket, but it's really not any new money, it's just called something else. But we do have to disclose how we spend it, and it cannot be spent on administrator salaries. So for Chico Unified, the estimated value for next year is $23.9 million, and we spend that 100% on teacher salaries. And that's, Zach, if you can click on that document as well, or attachment, thank you. You can see here, it's the very first line, instruction, and that is 100% teacher salaries.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Jacqueline or staff regarding the EPA? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and open a public hearing for public comment on this item. It is open. Does anyone in the public wish to comment on the 25-26 educational protection account? If there is no public comment, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. We don't usually have that many of these in one meeting. Again, this was informational, only just an opportunity for the public to comment. The 25-26 education protection account will be brought forward with all the other budget documents at next week's meeting. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. We are on to item 9.3.1. We're in Human Resources now. This is a discussion action item regarding Resolution 1696-25 regarding the non-reelection of probationary certificated employees.
Thank you, President Landos. So as you can see in the item here, we are referencing a California education code that we don't use very often. As you know, we normally finalize our non-reelection process in early spring. That's typically the process for most districts. However, this ed code does provide a certificated employee in their first probationary year can be notified on or before June 30th of a decision to not reelect the employee for the next succeeding school year. And as such, we are in that position now. So the resolution you have before you is for the non-reelection of a probationary 1 teacher per California Education Code 44929.21B.
Does anyone have questions or comments about this?
Just a comment. I was appreciative knowing that you had spoken with Charlie.
Yeah, this kind of thing definitely sets my alarm bells off because it is very difficult for someone who's still in the field to go and find employment for next year, starting in June, and it's not something we like to do, to let anybody know this late in the game. I understand the reasons for it, but hard to see. Okay, that said, any other questions? Do we have any public comment regarding item 931? Is there a motion associated with this item?
I move approval of resolution 1696-25.
That's the one.
I second.
Very well. We have a motion by Member Robinson and a second by Member Hayes. And is there any further discussion or debate on this one? All right, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9.4.1 is, do we have new board policies this time around?
We do have one. It was
All right,
a
thank you.
recommendation from the board, and we're bringing it back, and I'll let Jacqueline speak to it.
Yeah, so I kind of alluded to it earlier. Board Policy 3100 deals with essentially the budget as a whole. And so at the last meeting, it was recommended that, Zach, can you click on BP 3100 and go to page 3, please? It was discussed by the board that this section here in front of you in red be changed from an additional 2% to an additional 4%. So because this policy is before you now, I built the entire budget with that 2% in there, but I did want to bring it to your attention of what the impact would be should it go to 4%. So the policy in front of you this evening that I would ask go into effect July 1st, 2025. The only change from last month to this month is the change in red going from 2% to 4%.
And I'm sorry,
that would get us 1 month of payroll.
I did know this was coming. I just, for some reason, I saw the BP header, and I was like, oh, it's going to be that normal list of things from CSBA that we just blink at. Yeah. No, the board did talk about this last time. I think it's a wonderful idea. Again, the goal of the reserve has always been to have enough money to pay our bills for 1 month should the worst happen. This enables that to happen. Are there any other questions or comments from the board regarding this? Do we have any public comment? Okay. Thank you, public, for responding. I appreciate that. Is there a motion associated with item 941?
Mr. President, I move approval of the board policy 3100.
All right, we have a motion by Member Robinson, a second by Vice President Conkin. Any further debate or discussion?
I'll just say,
Please.
I'll just say that I'm glad to see that it's in the policy, because I had been told as a new board member that there was a 2% amount, and when I went to policy, it wasn't noted. So I'm glad to see that it's someplace where it can be found. And I'll also say, just my personal experience, CSBA recommends a much higher amount of a reserve, and the district in which I taught went with that CSBA amount, and I think there's a difference between prudence and, like, I know that CSBA has their reasons for recommending a much higher amount, and nevertheless, I think there has to be flexibility, and I'm glad to see that Chico Unified has I think, a more realistic goal in mind here.
Yeah, I'm always torn on this because whenever I look at reserves, it's, fiscally prudent to have reserves. On the other hand, our money is money we are granted temporarily to provide the best possible experience and education for our students, and it needs to be out there doing that work. So I think we're in a good place with this.
Can I just add a point of clarification
Please.
related to the motion? If I could ask the board to make this effective July 1. The reason I ask is all the budget documentations have a 2% reserve, and the agenda for next week will be posted on Friday morning per Erica, and we don't work tomorrow because it's a holiday, so that the 4% would go into effect July 1. So any financial information being brought forth to the board after that date would reflect the policy change.
With that, I'll ask for a friendly amendment to the motion.
Yes.
That makes it clear that this does not go into effect until July 1.
Yes, wasn't that in some of our document agenda? Oh, okay. I thought it was.
Okay.
But yes, I will.
If it's a friendly amendment,
acquiesce.
we don't need to vote, we're good to go.
No.
All right, awesome. So the motion on the table is to accept the new board policy 3100 going into effect July 1, 2025. Okay. Any further discussion, debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. And thank you. It was a good idea. I appreciate it, Tisha. We are on to item 10, or to section 10, items from the floor. Are there any new items from the floor? We have no speakers listed, of course, and I see no one rushing up to the podium.
But we still have an audience.
We do, and if either of you want to talk.
Or is there three? No, there's three.
There are three. We have received no request to agendize items at this time. We're going to move on to adjournment. I do want to remind our public and our board that we are moving to closed session at this time to complete the discussions that we had that could not be completed at our previous closed session before public. With that, is there a motion to adjourn to closed session?
So moved. I adjourn, to closed session.
Okay.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes.